So let's discuss how we became landlords. The year was 2005 and the real estate market was booming. Most of you probably remember. Multiple offers, homes selling for $10,000 more than the last home. Anyone with a pulse could get a loan for $5,000. Everyone was buying a boat and getting rich on paper. The home my wife and I bought in Dynamite Mountain Ranch for $200,000 was now selling for over $300,000. Life was great. A new housing development was opening down the road called Valley Vista. The homes looked great. We needed an upgrade. Instead of selling our home and putting $100,000 into our new home, I convinced my wife that we should keep the home in Dynamite Mountain Ranch and rent it out. We should also get a few more while we were at it. We can't lose. Well, that went well for about the first 18 months. The market had started to shift, but we were not in a free fall yet. We rented our home to a gal that lived on our street. Her landlord was cashing out and she needed someplace to go and wanted to stay in the area. She seemed nice. She told me her credit was not great, but she had a deposit in the first month's rent. She moved in. Every month I would stop by on the first of the month and pick up the rent. She was a single mom and had a couple of kids, one of which had special needs. They were nice. I got to know them, which became a big problem. See, her cleaning business slowed down and her boyfriend moved out. Rent started coming in a day or two late. It started coming in the form of cash and not a cashier's check. Sometimes it was cash and a check from a local charity or church. Then I found out she was pregnant. She was saving to get her through the months when she would not be able to work. I started working with her. Some rent here, the rest in a few days, a loan from the security deposit. I was way too close to the situation. I felt bad for her. I really felt bad for her kids. Then the rent stopped coming at all. Calls and texts were not returned. No one answered the door. I still had a mortgage to pay, and there was no rent coming in. That is when I reached out to a buddy of mine that I should have called in the first place. He was a property manager. He helped me start the eviction process, which took a long time and was no fun at all. Which brings me to my first tip. Once that was completed, I found that the tenant never really moved out. She pretty much abandoned all her stuff in our house. This is when I was told I couldn't legally put it all out on the street or dispose of it. I had to post the home and do a personal property eviction, which I believe took 3 weeks or so to complete. To make matters worse, the home was destroyed. We had to repaint the entire interior. All the carpet needed replacing. Holes in the walls needed to be patched. I think we replaced a microwave. Lots of expense and no security deposit to fall back on to help defray some of these costs, since we had worked with the tenants so many times. On top of that, the market had turned south. In hindsight, we should have probably just cleaned it up and still sold it for a profit. We could have still put a big chunk of change into the mortgage on our new home, and we spent several weeks getting the home back in shape. And I remember when it was all said and done, my dad saying to me, "Hey, this cleaned up pretty nice. Are you sure you don't want to just sell this thing and be done with it?" The home had gone down $20,000 or so in value from the height of the market, and since I was in the industry, I was sure this was just a short-term correction. Give it a year or two, things will get back to normal. Like many times in my life, I should have listened to dear old Dad.
Fast forward to about 2011. Our can't-miss investment is now worth about $150,000. Yes, half of what it was worth at the height of the market. Robbie and I are blessed to be in a better position than a lot of folks out there. We are fortunate that we purchased our home for $200,000 and not $300,000 like some did. We did refinance early on to put a down payment on our new home, so our loan balance was roughly $240,000. So to summarize, we owed $240,000 on a home that was worth $150,000 optimistically. Why didn't we just walk away and let it go? That was the normal thing to do. Short sales and foreclosures were everywhere. Well, we did have a few things going for us. First, we could afford to ride out the storm. When our arm reset, a loan product I would never recommend but has worked in our favor so far, our payment was almost cut in half. We were able to keep things afloat, not exactly cash flow positive, but treading water. The second positive was a strong rental market. We had a nice home in a desirable area. Vacancies did not last long, and we were able to consistently raise rent. Since the cash flow was good, we were able to be selective about our tenants, rent for a bit under market, which reduced the vacancy rate, and we retained our tenants for multiple years, which cut down on the marketing and property management fees. So now it's 2016 and we are still landlords. Why? Good question. There are several reasons. First, The market has recovered from its lows. Our home is now worth about $250,000. This is where being greedy or stubborn worked in our favor. Thank God we were in a position to ride out the storm and didn't throw in the towel. Number 2, rents rose. We went from collecting $1,200 per month to just over $1,400 per month since 2011. As a landlord, there are several expenses that are easy to forget. Here is a list of some things you can expect. Number 3, principal reduction. It's forced savings. Right now, every month, about $665 is being paid by our tenant on our behalf. As principal is applied, this amount increases by a few dollars per month. Using the $665 figure, we are reducing the amount owed on the home by about $8,000 every year. This number will only increase as time goes on. So as long as we can afford the subsidy, it makes sense to continue to be a landlord from a financial perspective. Appreciation. In theory, home values should increase at least with the rate of inflation. If our investment home appreciates by 2% every year until the time it is paid off in about 2035, it should be worth over $300,000. We are not counting on appreciation. It is not a factor in deciding whether or not we continue to rent our North Phoenix home. We plan to use the home as a retirement vehicle. Number 5, tax advantages. I'm not going to get into the specifics of tax advantages here as I am not a CPA. I would strongly advise that if you're considering becoming a landlord, speak with your CPA or trusted tax advisor. In our situation, there are significant tax advantages to continuing to rent our home. Thank you for watching our video. I hope you found the information useful. So you want to be a landlord? Are you sure? We can help. Learn more about being a landlord at www.marcsapp.com/landlord or give us a call, 602-214-7049. Thank you.